I had a couple of students last week, funny enough, one after the other, struggling with the same issues and faults in their golf swing, but one was hitting them too far to the left as the other one was hitting them too far to the right. And what I taught them was a backswing move, a crazy backswing move that literally made the downswing sequence become automatic. It made ball striking with the irons much easier and hitting straight drives way more often. And the really super crazy part about all of this is that from the setup position, I got them working on feeling like they were taking the club to the top of the backswing in this position here. And I know what you're thinking already, Harry has lost the plot here. But I promise you one thing, if you are struggling right now with the same faults that Dom and Nick were struggling with before they made this change into their golf swing, this will work wonders to your golf game. Now just quickly, if you're a returning viewer, thanks for tuning back into the channel, and if you are new, I'm Harry, a golf teacher professional posting content like this every single week to help you lower your scores. So consider clicking down on that subscribe button if you find these tips and drills useful for your own game. So taking a look at a picture side by side now then, with Nick and Dom's backswing positions, what you'll notice is one thing they have very, very common. And when they get to the top of the swing, they get very much so in this hinged position at the top of the golf swing. The main difference there is Nick swings a little bit further than Dom, but because they both get their hands very much so hinged, the hands get very close to the trail shoulder, the right shoulder, at the very top of the golf swing. Now the problem with this is that when they start to transition into the downswing, because they've made their way up to the top of the swing in this hinged position, they're going to start to lag the club too much. Now, when we say lag the golf club, we mean the club shaft in particular getting pretty much very close to the right shoulder on the downswing at speed. When this happens and we create a lot of lag, it actually encourages the club face to open up on the downswing simply because of the way this lead wrist of ours hinges and sets from the top of the golf swing. So this angle that they both form at the top of the golf swing is encouraging them to get into more of an extended left wrist position, lead wrist position for right-handed golfers there being the left wrist. So as they start to transition coming into the downswing, if they hold this angle all the way through to finish, they're going to leave the club face quite far open with the hands quite far forward. So what they've got to do is they've got to make their way down and find a way to square up the club face at the golf ball. So to do this, they've come down, they've lagged the club, and then they start to early extend with the upper body. And they start to release the hands over. And that causes that inconsistency in strike with the irons, because we're relying on the club face to close down in time, just enough to keep things square, but not too much that we start hooking the golf ball. But also as we do this, we can see from the face-on view, if we were just to zoom in right to where the club head is here, that leading edge of the club face, this part here, is winning the race to hit the golf ball. So we're either going to hit the ground first, or as we lift up and get this upward motion into the golf ball, we're going to thin the golf ball way too much. So from all of those outcomes, like the one that we can see on the screen here, the one that goes too far to the right, and the other one going too far to the left, we had to change the common fault, the common cause that was causing this issue. All the issues, in fact, and that was how much hinge that we set into the top of the golf swing here. We had to try and form an angle that allowed us to create a little bit more space between the hands and the upper body, but also to reduce the amount of wrist hinge we created at the very top of the golf swing in a very easy feel, a very easy way, which is crazy to do, crazy to feel into the golf swing. But what made it so easy for them to get into a much better position, taking a look at both of the screenshots here now of Nick and Dom after making the changes, you can see there, they feel like they're doing this at the top of the golf swing. Yep, that's right. So how do we apply that? How do we focus on that? What is the right movement to get ourselves feeling like we're doing this action here that takes the wrists out, that takes the hands getting too close to the shoulder out, and allows us to perform this downswing and make it automatic? But just before I show you how to do that, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the partners of the channel, SATORI Golf. This is the clothing that I'm wearing at the moment, their black polo. The fit and the quality of the material is very good. It's a premium golf clothing brand, and you can get yourself 10% off by using the discount code HARRY10 here. You'll notice the same top here available for you to get as well. So taking a look at the actual movement into the backswing, how do we get them both set up, feeling and trusting that movement to make the downswing sequence automatic? Well, first things first, what I told them to do, and this was really, really weird at first for them, but I told them to make their way up to the top of the swing and feel like they were keeping their trail arm completely straight. Now, I've done a lot of videos in the past where I've spoken about setting the right arm and allowing it to fold into the top of the backswing perfectly so we can make that downswing pretty much automatic. But if you are someone that struggles with too much arm fold and gets the hands way too close, this feeling would be perfect for you. So as we make the way into the top of the golf swing, I just said, right, well, imagine you're making your way into the top of the swing, allowing for a big turn from the hip, the trail hip twisting round, from the shoulders twisting and tilting into the backswing, but we keeping our right arm completely locked in straight. We're not pushing it out too much so there's a bit of disconnection here. This is still nice and tucked into the trail side of my body as I work on this movement. Almost like we were trying to form a line with the lead arm and the club itself. And a key checkpoint for them when doing this action all the way up to the top of the swing was just getting that club head itself and the shaft to face pretty much towards the camera angle here. That was what it felt like to them, especially for Nick, who was swinging it a little bit longer. We had to really exaggerate it for Nick because he was swinging a little bit longer. So we just said to him, right, well, let's just take it up to this point here. Almost feeling like we're keeping the right arm straight, of course, but the club's only reaching to a point of parallel in relation to the ground. So the takeaway position. But we're still allowing that big turn, which help him form himself into the top of the backswing in that position that you can see on the screen here. It's a big difference there. So as we're practicing this back and forth, feeling that movement, making our way into the swings and getting used to this. That wasn't the best of strikes, but it might work out okay. Pretty good shot there. I'll take that for the first effort. That was still ever so slightly more off-centered. It was slightly out the toe. So what we were able to do at first was get rid of those sort of bottom and top strikes, but we were still struggling with a little bit of the toe and heel side of the strikes and seeing a little bit of inconsistency with the direction. So the second key checkpoint I wanted to make sure, especially for the irons, was to ensure that as we took the club into this part of the golf swing here, this drill slash feel crazy move here, that we were keeping the trail hand itself on top of the lead hand. Now the key for this was going to allow the club face to stay more in a neutral position. So the leading edge of the club face there, for me, I've always mentioned in videos that leading edge of the club face, as we take the club back as normal, should be parallel with your spine angle. So as we take it up to the top of the golf swing, the feeling is, for this action, we're keeping that trail hand on top of the lead hand. And that just helped them both get the club set in a position that allowed them to start their way down into the downswing without having to manipulate the wrists, without having to manipulate the hands last minute to hit the golf ball. If we are going to be pushing it this way, and we allow that lead hand of ours to start to overtake and get on top of the trail hand, that opens the club face. So somewhere in the downswing, we're still going to have to react. Now the key for this drill is to make the downswing sequence automatic. And it's allowing you to get yourself set up to the top of the backswing to set up for success. So when we get to the top, we've got to see and feel that trail hand staying on top of the lead. As we look at the golf ball, feel that movement there. As we turn up to the top, and then turning on the way through, simple on the way through. We're just keeping this angle all the way through to finish. I'm just going to hit another shot, see if I can do a little bit better. And then we're just going to move on to some driver bonus tips. Oh, come on, stay there. It's a little bit pulled, but it should be a good distance. Roll back onto the green for me. So what I did there was I was able to keep the club face nice and square, trail hand staying on top of the lead as my maiden way into the top of the swing, but I allowed it to release over. So you know what? One more try. Let's see if I can get it a little bit closer. That was definitely better. Oh, one left, one right, go. Yeah. So That was just me encouraging the club face on the way through, holding the angle and using more the feel of my arms, continuing to push away as opposed to letting this release, early release, take place. So bonus tip number 1, when it comes to hitting the driver, one of the keys that we've got to make sure we do is keep the width of the driver swing. So now and again I'll see, especially with Dom, who was practicing with driver, and that was the main issue for him, he would pick up the club very quickly and very quickly get those hands again very close to the trail shoulder. So then from there, because he had so much speed, he'd start to lag the club like crazy, then leave the club face massively open. So Dom was the player that was struggling with the rightward shots. Nick was the one hitting the irons and struggling with the left shots. So we had Dom just focused on a simple drill that anyone can do. You can take the club away for this one and place your thumbs just together with your palms facing towards the ground, set up into your driver posture. As you make your way back, you're feeling like you're pushing the hands down and you're pushing them back and away. Almost feeling like you're keeping the pressure, keeping that push down and pushing it away from the body as much as you can all the way up to this part of the golf swing. You'll struggle to go any further than that just because of the way our trail arm sets when we do this. Then on the way down, we're just keeping that pressure, forcing it down, then making our way all the way through to finish. Now be careful when doing this, you don't on the way through just let them start to fold. Keep the pressure going down, but allow the body to turn on the way through. So let the body go down, allow the arms to go down as the body rotates through. So we had Dom working on that a couple of times, as you can see from the screen, and then hitting a few drivers very slowly. So this brings us into number 2, which is giving the driver enough time to close down. So the difference between the iron swing and the driver swing, we all know this mainly, 99.9% of golfers out there, we already know this, that with an iron, we want to be hitting down onto the golf ball and get that ball then turf interaction afterwards. The key with driver is we want to be hitting more up on the ball to get that upward launch and get those higher penetrating ball flights with plenty of distance. So they are two completely different swings. With the iron, we can afford for the club, the hands in particular, to be ahead of the club face like this here. With a driver, when it comes to doing that, watch the difference here. I'll just move that tee out of the way. And I'll do that same movement with the iron just to show you. And I'll do the same thing with the driver here. What do you notice about the iron and the driver? The iron is a touch open, but in relation to the driver's well open. So if we hold this angle on the way down from that lagged position, it's going to leave the driver way too open. So using a bag for this will be perfect, a golf bag like the one I've got here, the Golf Projects one, the indoor facility I'm currently coaching at. So as I make my way into the backswing, same feeling on the way back, but on the way down, rather than allowing the club to lag and for the club shaft to hit the bag first, we want to encourage the driver head itself to hit the bag first. So we're keeping that width, we're keeping that control of that trail arm, the right arm on the way back. Then on the way through, we're getting that feeling of sensation that we're allowing the driver head itself to touch the bag first. That's allowing us there just to get that upward motion, allow this little bit more of a release to take place with driver, prevent any more of that lagging sensation, but also closing down the club face, squaring things up to get those straighter and better launching drives. So applying those two feels into the driver swing. Once you've built this up into all-in-one motion swings and got the hang of this, you'll be wanting to try this out on the golf course. So feel free to check out my course management guide ebook. I'd highly recommend you getting that just for the season ahead. It's only around the corner, and it's a very simple guide that gives you everything you need to manage your way around a golf course. And that one there is set up perfectly for this hole. It's definitely gone a little bit lower than what I'm used to hitting on the golf course. However, that was me really exaggerating this feel on the way back, keeping the width, and then allowing that driver head just to overtake ever so slightly. That there, for me, the feeling is just keeping the width and just encouraging that driver just to overtake on the way through. Pretty nice drive there, a little bit of a draw, takes out that slice and push that Dom was hitting at the start of the lesson. So we helped Nick get into a much better backswing position, which led to his iron shots being way more consistent. As you can see on the screen as well, much better tee shots. And Dom was hitting much better drives at the end to finish as well. So if you are someone that struggles with inconsistency with the wrist at the top of the golf swing, go ahead and give us a try and comment down below to let me know how you get on after watching and giving these tips and drills a go at the driving range. Be sure to click that subscribe button as there's lots more coming your way, and why not check out this video over here if you're looking for more tips to help you with the driver golf swing. The first one at the top will talk you through a great simple move that allows you to hit driver out the middle more often, and the one down below is a great tip that allows you to generate way more speed and way more distance with your drives.